Okay, so I'm trying this out to present to you guys who are watching this um, the lineage on the Raigosa family name that I was able to find. So I'm going to start off with a PowerPoint here real quick and then go from there. So just excuse any uh, I don't know. If you don't understand, just let me know. So here's a PowerPoint that I started, the lineage of Raigosa, a journey back 543 years. So for the past 2 to 3 years, I have researched our family lineage by using the resources available on Ancestry.com. DNA analysis reveals a profile almost evenly split 50-50% native natives of modern day Mexico and European, mainly Spanish, and a compilation of regions around the Mediterranean Sea indicating the known territories of the Roman Empire when we go further back. Exhaustive research finally shows a definite and document backed direct lineage to Spanish ancestors tracing to the late 15th century, in this case 1480. This discovery was made on April 20th, and that was actually the birthday of our mom. So, kind of wonder if she helped me along, and helped with this discovery that took so long to find. All other family names that we have, Ojeda, Hernandez, and Ceballos, all being our family's surnames from both the paternal and the maternal side, do not show much documentation before a certain point in time. This can be explained by the fact that records were either lost or destroyed over the centuries. Discrepancies can be attributed to adoptions, misreporting, and children born out of relationships that were unsanctioned by the Catholic Church. Here is the basic image on the website for Ancestry.com that I'll uh, add on, or I'll go into a little bit more. But as you can see, and I'm going to use my marker here, here's grandma right down here. And then here's our grandfather right down here. And I have explored exhaustively on the Ceballos side, and I just can't find a link to the Spanish. She claims that there's French, but there's no French connection either. But if we go further to the Raigosa lineage, which goes to our great grandfather Macedonio, and then from there to Cesareo, and then from there to Crispin, and on back over time, um, we come across an interesting find. So on the next slide here, it goes all the way from what I just showed in the previous slide to um, this these two ancestors that I'm showing right here. So beginning with Luis de Regosa, that's the furthest, that's the oldest ancestor that I've been able to find through documentation. Luis de Raigosa, who was born in 1645 and married to Juana Ursula Huizar y Tobar, I think was her last name. Anyways, so if we go over to this one, Francisco, which we're going to take a little bit more attention to, take note of his wife's name. Brígida de Miramontes is her name. Okay, so we're going to go over to the website for Ancestry. And as I just showed right now, we have, so let me scroll down a little bit down here. There's Francisco right here, Francisco de Regosa. And then we've got Luis de Regosa, the one I just showed in that previous slide on the PowerPoint. And again, here we have Brígida de Miramontes. All right. Now, before we continue with that, I went into Wikipedia to find a little bit more about the region from where our families come from in Mexico, where they were concentrated for many centuries. And the name that keeps on resurfacing on birth records is this right here, uh, Tlatenango de Sanchez Roman, which, if we look at it geographically right here, uh, puts us somewhere in this area of Mexico. And I can't use my marker on this right here, but somewhere, let's see, let me try to zoom back out. Okay, so there's Texas right here. El Paso would be right there. And the region that we're more concentrated on, our families, was in this particular area right here. This particular area back in um, the early days of Mexico, which we're talking about back in the 1600s, 1500s, was known as Nueva Galicia, and it was a province of Spain before it came to be known as the state of Zacatecas as it's known today. If you scroll down on this history, as I'm showing, I want to pay special attention to, let's see here, the history, where it says Historia, history right there. And right down here, as I scroll down, is this interesting name that I had come across, which is, let me zoom in a little bit. Pedro de Bobadilla. Just keep that in mind right there, Pedro de Bobadilla. And you can look this up on your own computer and read more about it. And Juan de Miramontes. When I saw this name and I was reading the history of this, I immediately thought, isn't one of the names that I had seen on the ancestry page, which again is Brígida de Miramontes. When you read this information on Wikipedia, you find that during the period of like 1616, and in this case she was born in 6060, the population of Spanish versus Indian was very small. So it led me to think, how many Miramontes could have possibly been in this region during that period of time? When I started doing that research and looking for her documentation, which led to her father being Juan de Miramontes, and then her grandfather, wait a second, it was Lorenzo was her father, her grandfather was Juan de Miramontes, it matches what's in Wikipedia. So when you go further and I research further on the family names, I found that there was a connection between Juan de Miramontes, Hernando de Miramontes, who was from Spain, and then there's Bobadilla. They were married to the family name of Bobadilla, who were the same ones that I had mentioned right here, Pedro de Bobadilla. They were connected. These families were connected with each other. Um, and it just it traces back this family to what very possibly were nobility in Spain. And there's Pedro Fernandez de Bobadilla was right here. So the same people, and this is it from 1500, and we go further back to the oldest Miramontes, which is from 1480 in Spain. So it all traces back. It's all backed up with records. Uh, Very fascinating stuff to come across. And like I said, you can read more about the history on Wikipedia under this name right here, Tlaltenango de Sanchez Roman, which is where they had settled. So there you have it. If you got any, oh, let me show you this one last thing right here. Is a this is an actual certificate of birth, or I'm not sure if this is birth or baptism, but as you can see right here, where I'm putting my cursor right there, 1630 is the year that it states right here. And then Lorenzo, as you can see right here, Español, hijo legítimo de, that's hijo legítimo HLG, Juan de Miramontes. You can kind of make it with a handwriting. You can see it right here, Miramontes. Brígida, the one that I was mentioning right here. You can see it. Brígida, and whatever the last name was that I showed you, it all shows right there. Miramontes shows up right here again. Lorenzo de Miramontes. So it's all tied in. And there's a previous one where it shows Raigosa with Brígida Miramontes. So a lot of proof of our lineage.